The Baltics are heating up following the Russian downing of a U.S. Reaper drone over the Black Sea. Moscow just witnessed a show of force over the Black Sea unheard of since the Cold War, where we just witnessed B-52 heavy bombers practiced bombing runs against St. Petersburg. The Bomber Task Force missions have played a vital role in military history and continue to be a valued asset to the American military. Stay tuned as we give you an introduction to the B-52 bomber, explore the history of Bomber Task Force missions in Europe, and review their latest mission practicing launching cruise missiles against Russia in the Gulf of Finland. The B-52 bomber is a long-range heavy bomber that has been in service since the 1950s. It's an incredibly large jet with wingspan of 185 feet and a maximum payload of 70,000 pounds, flying on no less than 8 jet engines. The B-52 can fly at high altitudes and fly across continents without refueling. In March of 2023, we have witnessed a deployment of American B-52 bombers to Spain, where they have flown several missions as part of the Bomber Task Force across the entire continent, from Norway in the north to Turkey in the southeast, and everywhere in between. The latest profile saw the bombers coming from Spain before entering the Baltic Sea and heading straight for St. Petersburg, passing just outside the airspace of Kaliningrad, a heavily armed enclave of Russia. They readied their cruise missiles and practiced employment of strategic weapons to hone their skills should they ever be called upon to swing into action. The flight profile raised eyebrows in the aviation community, as the bombers usually do not fly this close to Russian territory before breaking off and heading into NATO airspace again. The B-52 bomber can carry the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff missile, JASSM, a long-range precision-guided missile capable of striking targets up to 600 miles away. The JASSM is a highly effective weapon for modern warfare because it's designed to penetrate enemy air defenses and hit high-value targets with extreme accuracy. Used in conjunction with air-launched decoys to lure air defenses, even the aging B-52s can strike fear into the Russian armed forces. The mission comes at a time when Russia has announced they are establishing a new military district to answer Finland and Sweden's coming ascension into NATO. In the days following the incident, several armed forces of Europe posted on their social media accounts about the joint training with American B-52s. The Danish armed forces posted on Twitter, saying Danish soldiers practiced target designation in order to train on procedures in connection with soldiers on the ground, calling in air supports against enemy targets close to their own units. Sweden also joined in, stating that they cooperated with the B-52s in anti-surface operations, where the bombers practiced dropping sea mines to defend important harbors. Since Sweden is not yet a formal member of NATO, this event shows the U.S. commitment to Sweden in bilateral agreements. In other words, Russia would have to think twice before planning an attack on the Swedes, even before becoming full NATO members, as they have powerful friends. Since the 1950s, B-52 bombers and bomber task forces have been a significant component of U.S. military strategy in Europe. During the Cold War, the bombers were used to dissuade Soviet aggression and were stationed at many locations around Europe. B-52 bombers have been employed in the Balkans conflict and played an important part in the NATO-led air campaign against Serbia in the 1990s. They have also seen action over Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and Syria in the fight against ISIL. In recent years, bomber task force missions have become more popular in Europe. These task forces, which include numerous B-52 bombers and other military aircraft such as B-1 Lancers and B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, are designed to portray U.S. military power and reassure U.S. partners in Europe. They have been employed in drills and training flights, as well as in reaction to security threats such as Russian military operations near NATO airspace and the posture change in Eastern Europe following the Ukraine war. The function of B-52 bombers in the current European military strategy is to provide a credible deterrent to potential adversaries, particularly Russia. The U.S. military has invested in updating the B-52's armament systems and avionics to make it a more effective weapon in modern warfare. B-52 bombers are frequently utilized in conjunction with other military assets, such as drones and fighter jets, to carry out complex operations. In Europe, B-52 bombers and bomber task forces face a number of obstacles. One of the most difficult issues is keeping the aging fleet of B-52 bombers operational. The U.S. military has invested in enhancements to extend the life of these bombers, but they will eventually need to be replaced by newer aircraft. In the ever-evolving arms race, the increased sophistication of Russian military technology makes it more difficult for B-52 bombers to fly unnoticed into Russian airspace. To meet this challenge, the U.S. military has been focusing on new weapon systems and stealth technology that can assist in fighting Russian defenses. The key is combining the B-52s with other jets as a part of a larger operation, and we typically see other nations' fighter jets flying alongside the big bombers to deal with air defenses and hostile fighters trying to bring the bombers down. In terms of future plans, the U.S. military says they intend to maintain its deployment of bomber task forces in Europe. These task forces will continue to be a vital weapon for projecting American military strength in the region and ensuring U.S. allies of the U.S. military's commitment to their defense. Do these old bombers, a legacy from the Cold War days, still have a place in modern operations? And how will Russia react to new close encounters with U.S. aircraft near Russian operations? Let us know what you think in the comments below.